And we are back. And joining me right now is Miss Michele Hylton-Terry. She is a redevelopment manager here in the city of Fort Myers. Now, what is she redeveloping, you may ask? You might want to take that. Yeah, that wasn't Miss McKinney. Of course, I wasn't talking about you as a woman making it through the door and slamming it. Of course not. Okay. But she is the redevelopment coordinator for McCollum Hall. Oh, man, that feels good. Thank you. For McCollum Hall. She is here, and this is a serious subject, okay, so I'm going to be serious about this. She is, of course, in charge of making McCollum Hall into the historic place, landmark that it should be. Now, for several years, we've been hearing that there was going to be some changes to the hall.
Correct.
That it was going to be developed into a very nice place. There was going to be a famous soul food restaurant there. What is it about McCollum Hall that makes it so special, historically speaking?
Well, McCollum Hall, and thank you for having me on tonight to share this information. I'm very excited about this project.
I'm glad you're here. Really, I am.
Thank you.
I don't have to sit up here and sweat alone.
McCollum Hall is special because it was built in 1938 by African-American businessman Clifford McCollum. And at the time, it had so many uses. It served the community. The lower level had a grocery store, a barber shop. It was where African Americans went because of segregation. The upper level, which is what the hall is mostly known for, has the dance club. And we had famous African American performers who performed there because they weren't able to perform at white venues. So they did perform in McCollum Hall, and we found in Duke Ellington's diary where he performed at McCollum Hall. And there are many others. The documentation isn't quite as easy to locate, but we have the oral history. So yeah, McCollum Hall is very important to this community, not just Dunbar, but the city of Fort Myers.
Okay. And I see in here now, it was part of the Chitlin Circuit.
Correct.
Of course. Now, a lot of people didn't hear about the Chitlin Circuit until the Jamie Foxx movie, or the Ray Charles movie, when they talked about the Chitlin Circuit. But it was a very famous venue, and there are a lot of legendary performers that were there that talk about it, including B.B. King.
B.B. King, Ella Fitzgerald, Duke Ellington.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, what has taken so long? Now, and I want to ask this in all fairness. I know you may not have all the answers to this, okay? But we have this corridor coming down through Fort Myers, right off of I-75. And at one point, it was beginning to look really, really good, okay? They were developing it, it looked good. And then it seemed that all the attention got pushed over to the riverfront. So what happened? Why the delays?
Well, let me speak to that.
Okay.
Because they're separate. Yes, we're one city, but the CRA is made up of many redevelopment areas. Okay. And McCollum, Martin Luther King Boulevard is actually 4 redevelopment areas. Okay. The funds that are generated from the TIF in that district is tax increment financing. Okay. And it is how the CRA functions and reinvest in the community. So if the money's generated in the Martin Luther King Boulevard district, it has to be spent there. Okay. Those funds were used to purchase McCollum Hall, to buy the additional property around it to expand the project so it could be viable. Those funds were used for grants along the corridor. Some of the grants that were given were Quality Life Center received a grant. John Tobler's Barbershop received a grant.
Really?
The Boyd Funeral Home received a grant. Okay. And the Ark of Safety Daycare received a grant. Okay. So we've reinvested those funds back into the community. That's what the CRA does. Now you compared it to downtown and why there's been what seems to be more activity there. And quite frankly, there's more activity there because there's more TIF there. There's more tax dollars generated that can be returned to projects.
Okay. Now, would it be fair to say that the more that is invested in that community as far as the business development there, then the TIF amounts would grow, right?
Correct.
So why the delay in McCollum Hall? Because it would seem that that would be something that would more than make up for, and I'm just guessing here, yes, but developing something like McCollum Hall and making it a viable venue in this community, that would generate a lot of funds.
And so when we started this project back in 2007, we definitely saw it as a catalyst, and we see it as a catalyst today to spur redevelopment along the corridor. The issue has been the funding.
All right.
And so we went out and we did select a developer through the RFP process, which is request for qualifications. And that developer, part of his function was to assemble the funding. He's been unsuccessful, which is why the project has been delayed. However, the CRA has been moving forward to do work as the money's available. For instance, we did a 4-month stabilization that took place back in 2011. In that project, we completely redid the roof on both stories of the building. We shored up the back wall, put in new footers, stabilized the building so that it would be strong enough and standing so that when the funding for the actual restoration was available, it would be there.
Okay. Now, in so doing, what is going on inside the building right now? Now, I hear that it's gutted. Is that the case?
That is true.
Okay, so what's next for that building? What is the next step?
So what's next for the building is what I'm excited to tell you about tonight. So we received, the CRA received a $500,000 grant from the state of Florida. And we will be totally investing that into the exterior of the building. So by this time next year, McCollum Hall is going to be looking brand new. Now it's a historic building, so it'll be restored back to what it was in 1938 when it was built. And so you're going to see over the next couple of months that building under construction.
Okay. Now, the businesses that come back, I mean, Style Land is not coming back.
Probably not.
Is it? Okay. So what businesses will be housed there?
Well, and again, you know,
I know it's a prediction. It's not.
Right.
Okay.
And so there are so many services and retail opportunities in this community that it could really be anything. It could be a beauty salon. It could be a clothing store. Okay. We would love to see a restaurant or some kind of food venue, but really it could be anything that the community wants.
Okay. So there is a possibility that McCollum Hall could be a venue for music and entertainment again, or is that off the table?
Absolutely. The second floor is still going to be that entertainment space.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, when we redid the roof, we changed the roof line. Okay. And it really made it a more inviting, more elegant space. It is going to be a first-class space when completed, and it will be available for anniversaries and birthdays and events like that.
Okay. Now, what is the redevelopment part of this? What is the size? It's going to go from Palm down to Cranford or Crawford? What's going to happen with that? Is it for the whole block or just for McCollum Hall?
Well, the CRA owns the McCollum property and the property next door. Okay. So it's about 30,000 square feet total, the entire property, and that's what we hope to develop as a part of the whole campus. Okay,
so the Bell Bonds place will probably still be there?
We don't own that.
Okay. And of course, what kind of influence do you have as far as what's going to be built across the street? Do you have any of that influence? Because we know the barbecue, McCarter's is there, and and that's good, but does the city have any plans for eminent domain to say, hey, look?
No, I don't believe eminent domain is going to come into play here. Okay. However, once McCollum Hall does get redeveloped, I could see something happening across the street. Okay. And across the street, the other way is the Imaginarium that is going to be undergoing a renovation.
Okay. So the Imaginarium will still be there?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, as far as the TIF dollars, I know we're running out of time for this segment. As far as the TIF dollars, is there a benchmark amount? Okay, and I'm trying to talk like I know what I'm talking about here, so forgive me. Is there a benchmark amount that that area needs to develop or bring in so that it can go back into the community?
Well, the TIF is solely generated based on the increase in revenues over the base year.
Okay.
And so it is what it is. As activity starts to occur in the corridor, it's going to increase.
Okay. So if property values go up, that would mean that more TIF dollars will come in, or does it?
It will mean that more TIF dollars will come in. Businesses come in, start generating more, yes.
Okay. So the purpose of developing and refurbishing all these other buildings was that it looks better and it'll make more businesses want to come into that area.
Absolutely.
And that will develop the TIF dollars.
Well, which comes back to the community,
right.
Yes.
Okay. So as far as, oh man, we'll get to that in the next section. There is a lot of history associated with McCollum Hall, of course. Those of you who may have heard the story of Ruby McCollum, she was a lady in Central Florida. She ended up killing a white doctor and was, of course, sentenced to death for that. Several famous writers wrote stories about her in newspaper articles. She became a cause celeb in the 1950s because it turns out that this guy, even though white press was saying that they were lovers, the real story was that he was raping her, forcing her to have children, and she killed him. But that's beside the point. Just a little bit of history there. I am RJ, and Michelle and I will be right back. We're going to have a little bit more of a discussion about McCollum Hall.
The City of Fort Myers has supported new and early-stage businesses by providing a location and technical assistance to new business owners. Tenants also have access to free business consulting, professional receptionist office, free Wi-Fi, 2 conference rooms, a large training room, copier and fax. Many new businesses now operating successfully have had their start at the Southwest Florida Enterprise Center. If you have a business idea, call 239-321-7085 and come join us.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
And welcome back to Politico. I am your host this week, RJ, and we have Miss
Hylton-Terry.
Miss Hylton-Terry. She really didn't get upset with me about saying that, but she did. Now, she, of course, is the developmental manager for McCollum Hall. And, of course, there is lots going on there. It's been planned for several years. There are so many people that say, oh, well, it's never going to happen, it's never going to happen. But it's happening in incremental stages, as we found out last section. Of course, there are so many things that have to do with it, including developing the businesses along that corridor so that it can bring in more money, so that it can go towards the hall, so that it can get built up. Now, we have a campaign that is going on. It's called This Place Matters. Will you please tell us about that?
The National Trust for Historic Preservation has started their This Place Matters. And because McCollum Hall matters to us, we want everyone to go out there and take a picture with this little placard and post it on social media. You want to hashtag McCollum Hall and This Place Matters and get McCollum Hall out there. I know you love it as much as I do and you want to see it restored as much as I do. So help us out.
And it also has a Facebook page.
Yes, the project has a Facebook page. It is represented well on the city's website. So there is all kinds of information about McCollum Hall, and you can find it.
Okay. All right, now, also, there is an event that is being planned.
Yes.
Bring it in.
Later this summer, we are planning open house in the one-story portion of the building. It's completely gutted. It's beautiful inside with the brick walls. But really what we're planning it for is to be able to show you the renderings of what is going to come and what is going to be occurring over the next 12 months. Our architect is Park and Mudgett Smith, and they expect to have our drawings shortly. And we want the community to come and see and to participate. We want you to know that this project is happening.
Part of it is a big deal, right?
Absolutely.
Because there are so many people that complain that not enough is happening there. And now you're saying, okay, here's your opportunity to get involved.
Exactly.
So what do you expect to happen now that we're letting the community know, okay, those of you who say that it's taking too long, it's time to ante up?
I want you to come out. I want you to come to the city meetings. I want you to go to the website, see what's happening with the project. We're posting updates all the time. Tell people that don't know more about the project and really know that it's happening. The city of Fort Myers is looking at additional funding that can go into the property to make it happen faster. And we are still actively seeking grants and other funding. We do have a developer in place, and I know that he is also seeking funding for this project. So we're moving forward, and we want you to be a part of it.
All right. I want to talk about some of the misconceptions that I've heard over the years about the project, okay? And I don't know that you've necessarily heard them, but of course, when this started, there was a big deal made about grants that were being given that were going towards the program. But those grants were given for specific things, right? Like hiring an architect or whatever developmental people do. Is that right?
When you say grants given for the project, I'm not clear.
In 2009, I believe it was, there was a grant that was given for the project, and now I remember this happening. And I remember, again, people saying, oh, that grant was supposed to cover it. If I'm not mistaken, the grant was for like $500,000. But
That's not accurate.
It's not accurate?
No.
Okay. So there was not a grant that was given?
No.
Okay.
No. In 2011, we did the stabilization.
Okay.
And the project did receive $193,000 of community development block grant that went right into the stabilization.
Okay.
And other than that, the project has been funded through the TIF district.
Okay. So, I'm going to tell you this. The news press misled us. Honestly, I like to think I do my research. The news press reported several years ago that there was a grant that was given for the development of this project. And so now what you're saying is that only the TIF funds have been...
Up until last June, when we received the $500,000 from the state, the money has come from the TIF.
Okay. All right. And news press, if I'm misquoting you, I do apologize. I'll look it up, and hopefully we'll have something to say about that later on. Okay. Now, as far as McCollum Hall itself, now, do we have any drawings of what it's going to look like?
We do actually have some, and I believe that they're available on our Facebook page.
Okay. And we're looking at some of it. Is that right?
Yes. Okay. In the lower corner, the middle, actually, the center, you're seeing the renderings that were done back in 2011.
Okay. I want to revisit what you expect to be in there. And I just ask you can tell me yes or no. Office space?
It's possible for office space. It's possible for retail. It's possible for restaurants.
Okay, so we may see Styleland back in there.
Styleland could be back in there.
And the restaurant that we've all heard about is Sylvia's.
Sylvia's out of New York. We did get a letter of interest from them.
Okay.
However, you know, and it's not dead, but things have changed, so we'll have to revisit that when the time comes closer.
All right. Now, would a restaurant like Sylvia's, would they start to lose interest if it takes too long to redevelop?
It's possible, and there is actually another Sylvia's up in St. Petersburg in the Manhattan casinos. So I'm sure that they're watching that project, and they'll make a decision based on that.
Okay. So we can, hopefully, within the next several years, see a big change in that corridor, and especially around McCollum Hall if you have your say-so about it?
In the next 12 months, you will see a big change because the exterior of that building is going to be brand new.
Okay. Anything else you want us to know?
Visit us on our Facebook page. Keep up with what's happening with the project. Visit the city's page. We update all the time.
Okay. All right. Well, we are so happy that you were able to make it here with us, Miss Michele Tyler. Okay, I did
My
that
husband
one
is
on
not
purpose.
laughing.
I did that one on purpose. I'm just going to call you Michele.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That works.
No, it's not. Your husband is there watching, and he ain't going to come here and beat me up. So we thank you for coming, and we really appreciate you coming in, Michele, okay?
Thank you. It was great.
Thanks, guys, for watching Politico. We're going to be back right after this break. Thanks for joining us.
The City of Fort Myers has supported new and early-stage businesses by providing a location and technical assistance to new business owners. Tenants also have access to free business consulting, professional receptionist office, free Wi-Fi, 2 conference rooms, a large training room, copier and fax. Many new businesses now operating successfully have had their start at the Southwest Florida Enterprise Center. If you have a business idea, call 239-321-7085 and come join us.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
And we're back here on Politico. There is a lot going on in the country, and we're just at the beginning of the 2016 presidential elections. There are several candidates that are in the works, 20 so far, if I'm not mistaken. I may be off, but I'm not too far off on the Republican side alone, and I don't think Jeb Bush is even formally announced. I believe that's coming this coming week. So there is a lot going on, and the thing that I'm always fearful of is that many of us do not pay enough attention of what's going on. So if you followed Barack Obama these last 8 years, what I am hoping is that that momentum will carry us forward as far as being involved in what's going on. Now, a lot of people will fault us and say, well, they only pay attention to national politics. And you're right, okay? But in my estimation, that's better than not paying attention at all. So many individuals started paying attention to politics for the first time. In 2008, there was a 96-year-old African-American woman that said that it was her first time voting, and she was so proud to vote for an African-American. And many people cheered. I almost cried. I thought that that was so sad. There's so many of our people that have been lynched, castrated, blown up for that right to vote, and to think that this woman at 96 hadn't taken advantage of what so many of our ancestors and our our family members died for, that was a sad story, no matter how many people wanted to cheer about it. So now that we have become involved and now that we care about who is sitting in that White House, that's good. But it's also time for us to start paying attention to what's happening locally. So these local elections, they have even more of an impact on what's going to happen in our communities. If we do not start paying attention to that, then we will continue to see local law enforcement, in some cases, spiral out of control. Now, if you say you want more control as far as law enforcement is concerned, get involved locally. If you say you don't like bad cops, get involved locally. If you say that you want to see more development in your community, get involved locally. It's time out to stop waiting for someone else to do it because we don't want to pay attention. Barack Obama being elected to the highest office in the land was a great thing. It was monumental. It was one of the greatest things in my lifetime. But it wasn't the biggest thing in my lifetime, at least I hope. What will be the greatest thing in my lifetime is seeing a black county commissioner here in Lee County. It will be seeing a black mayor here in Fort Myers. Will that happen? Will we see an African-American governor here in the great state of Florida? Will that happen? I don't know. But with so many people finally paying attention to what was happening nationally, I hope just as many people start to pay attention to what's happening locally. I am RJ. I'm here this week with you on Politico. Let's start paying more attention. Thank you for joining us.